Well, Stewie, 12 months down the line, the opening of Swisherr West End in the city, a magnificent facility.
Yeah, special. I think the journey's definitely been worth it. From a small start-up to what we envisaged here today was incredible. So, a bit weary. I think David and Mark and myself have certainly put a lot of time and effort into this, and now to see so many kids out here just wanting to throw up hoops, that's what it was all about. And yeah, special times.
You mentioned small start-up, a compact squash court at the Kingborough Sports Centre to what it is now. I mean, what does that journey from your perspective look like? How does that feel?
Yeah, thanks to COVID. I mean, I remember looking back, and Nash and I were talking to Barts, and I mean, we spoke about the deficiencies in Hobart and the difference between north, northwest and south, and I think one of the major things down here is facilities and access to being able to shoot and get more shots up, and there's no hidden fact that the southern athletes are probably not as potent shooting wise, and we wanted to try and even the playing field, and we spoke about it at length. And I mean, I've got two boys of my own that want to get in and shoot as many hoops as they can, and Bartlett came back and said, well, what about a squash court? And Nashi and I said, well, there's no chance a three-point line would fit in a squash court. So anyway, we thought about going and having a look and measuring it, and then next thing I said, Nashi, this is going to work. And then we looked at some of the shooting machines, and conversation started, and then we thought, well, worst case scenario, our own kids will use the facilities and get plenty of shots up, but it's just grown so rapidly, and then the next step was what you see today.
Obviously what we see today, it's pretty unprecedented, you know, anywhere in the state. I mean, it's a leader of its kind, so to speak, and I mean, you must think for yourself, someone who's travelled so far in their basketball journey, to have had something like this as a kid would have been phenomenal.
Yeah, Mark Banovic, probably one of the best shooters Hobart's ever had, mentioned that yesterday. Imagine having this facility when he was young. He said he would have lived in here, and I was the same. So yeah, it's pretty special, and I'd say more so than the state, I think the country. I don't think there's anything that I've ever seen like this capacity in Australia. So yeah, it's thanks to the university for letting our dreams come to reality.
You mentioned the country. Obviously at the moment a vast majority of it in lockdowns with restrictions. Tasmania's been lucky enough to avoid most of those and be able to get shots up and stuff like that. I mean, do you sort of use that as a beacon of light as sort of a national leader of coming out of COVID, and what's the potential for young athletes who may miss junior champs or prospective juniors moving forward? Yeah,
look, the only challenge for athletes now, these juniors, is there's no excuses. They can come and shoot any time they want now. Like you'll have 10, 11 rings in here, 5, 6 shooting machines. You've got a running track with timing gates, and you have a strength and conditioning program over there as well. So it's a one-stop shop for athletes that want to play basketball. So there's really no excuse to not become a better player right now.
The connections obviously with the education and the schools, I mean, that's obviously broadened the horizons for a lot of people who might be social. How key is that partnership with the schools and the university to, you know, be able to tailor programs to students and athletes, and again also just open up other pathways for students and athletes?
Yeah, I mean, you see it in America, you see it in Melbourne. A lot of the colleges have high performance programs such as this, and using sport as a vehicle to try and encourage these kids to go on and with further education, training, or even employment. And that's what we've tried to set up here, so somewhere that they can come and shoot hoops and engage it with their education and lead a healthy lifestyle. So that was one of the key criteria when we sat down and spoke about it. It's certainly been a big part of where we want to head, and I think I've got about 180 boys every week that are on the floor working in athlete development across the colleges, and it's a really good opportunity for them to go to that next level.
Two more for you. On a personal level, what does it mean to have invested your time in basketball across the state for so long, particularly in this project the last 18 months? What sort of, you know, personal, you know, not necessarily gratitude, but, you know, how does it feel personally to have kicked such a big goal here?
Yeah, look, it's just been overwhelming, I would say, was probably the simple word. That just to see all the courts being used right now is just, it gives you some confidence that you've done the right thing, and there were some nervous times. Hasn't all been easy, let me tell you. So we put a lot of hours and a lot of time, and a lot of tears have been shed and a lot of smiles. So, but the reality is, I got to do it with two very good mates of mine, in David Bartlett and Mark Nash. So, as I've always say, win, lose or draw, it's been a great journey, and we've enjoyed it. But I can't see this being anything else but a huge positive for southern Tasmania.
And finally, what's next? We've got here, it's a massive facility, but what's next, Stewie?
Yeah, we're talking about expanding across the state and engaging the northwest in our project, and thereafter even potentially across the country. So let's just settle the dust for a little bit and try and get this thing established. There's still a lot of work to do. Sort of called the opening a little bit early, but I think over the next 12 weeks you'll see an even bigger and better place, and as I said, a one-stop shop if you're an athlete.
You've been working your backside off. You've got a big weekend ahead. Yeah. Thanks again for your time, Stuart.
Thanks, mate. Thank you.